Welcome to the Gita in Action podcast. My name's Radha, and I'm here with our family of seekers, which is just growing and expanding, and it's so exciting to see and to have everybody here with us this morning. This class is getting full, and that makes me very happy, and I think that makes our divine power very happy too. For us all to come together and start our days with that intention of just connecting and being grateful for that we have a higher power in our life and that we can come together and elevate our consciousness. So thank you all for being here on that journey. And today we are in chapter 11. We're in chapter 11. And this chapter is called the Universal Form. And it's a beautiful chapter. It can also be a little bit hard to relate to because it seems what's happening here is like, for some people could seem just, what's that word? Mythological? What's that word? Like a myth? It seems just like too much to even believe. But if we could really try to challenge ourselves to just kind of open up a little bit to what's going on here, um, there's a lot of nuggets. There's a lot to be gained. There's a lot to be learned from what we're witnessing here on the battlefield in this chapter. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But before we do, Shraddhanjali, do you want to say our prayers for us? You're on mute, my dear. I will ask to unmute you.
Oh, is it? Om Jnana Timirandasya Jana Jana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Guru Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. So nice. All right, so before we jump into today's verses, I want to start with a question to kind of orientate us here. This question is like, have you ever felt like if you could just understand everything, like really see how things are going to play out, how all the pieces fit together, then you'd finally feel steady. Like if I had more clarity, I'd feel more in control. I think a lot of us live with that subtle belief. I know I do. It's like I know even when I was like wanted to have children and my husband and I it wasn't happening for us for many years. I was like, I just want to know that it's possible, that it's going to happen, and then I just feel better. It's like this, the understanding equals stability. Seeing more means that we'll feel stronger. And what's interesting is in this section of the Gita, Arjuna actually gets that. He's not getting a little more clarity. He's getting everything. And what's happening here is Krishna is revealing to him the entire universe. All beings, all time, all outcomes, all in one place. He's getting everything. So if our assumption is right, this should be the moment where he feels the most powerful, like the most certain, the most in control. But that's not what we see happen here. Right? What we see happen instead in this experience is seeing all of this, which is so much more than any of us can even fathom or comprehend. I mean, this is everything that's being revealed to him. It doesn't make him feel bigger. It actually makes him feel smaller. And not in a diminishing way, not in a way that's like self-deprecating, but in a way that's deeply humbling. And we saw this, we started to see this in the verses that we covered in our last session. Last, was it Monday maybe? When Sanjaya describes what Arjuna is witnessing, he sees countless mouths, countless eyes, unlimited forms, the entire universe expanded and contained in one place. This is what Arjuna is seeing on the battlefield. This is what Krishna's revealing to him on the battlefield. And what happens, Arjuna's response is that his hair stands on end. He's overwhelmed. He's astonished. He's bewildered. And then something really beautiful happens. He bows his head, and he begins to offer prayers. So his mood kind of shifts. He doesn't see everything and feel, proud and powerful and in control. He sees everything and feels humble. And this is such a lesson for us. So as we go through these verses, I want us to really pay attention to this shift because it challenges something that we carry too. And that is that the more understanding that we have will make us stronger. And what the Gita is showing us here is something different. That sometimes even when we see things clearly, it it doesn't make us powerful. It should humble us. And it's in that humility that really opens the door to something deeper. And so this is Arjuna's experience, and if we're open to it, can be all of our experiences. So let's walk through this experience with Arjuna and try to see what he's seeing and more importantly, what he's feeling. So we're going to start with text 15, chapter 11, text 15. Let's see. And when you're ready, Stella, I'm still trying to get it up, but you can start.
Arjuna Vacha Pasyami Devam Tava Deva Dehe Sarvam Tata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan Brahmanam Itsam Kala Sanastam Rishims Cha Sarvan Uragams Cha Divan. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents.
So now Arjuna's speaking. And the first thing he does is describe the scope of what he's seen. He says, My dear Krishna, I see all the demigods within your body and all different kinds of living beings. So he's looking at this form and he's realizing this isn't just one thing, this is everything. He's seeing everything in the universe. He specifically mentions Brahma sitting on the lotus, Lord Shiva, the sages, even the divine serpents. So what he's pointing to here is this full range of existence from the highest beings all the way down, from top to bottom. It's like all encompassing. He's seeing everything. So he's basically saying, I'm seeing the entire universe, all the different levels of it, all kinds of life, all within you. And this is confirming what Krishna said earlier, that in one place, just one place, Arjuna would be able to see everything. And this is exactly what's happening. Arjuna isn't just hearing it anymore. is seeing it for himself. And again, let's zoom in. He's not seeing everything and feeling like, wow, now I see everything. Now I'm in control. This is what seeing things can sometimes do for us. Get a little bit of glimpse, we get a little bit of foresight, and we just feel like, okay, now I'm in control. If anything, this is the beginning of him realizing just how vast everything is and how small he is in comparison. So this is the moment when that shift starts, from trying to understand everything to standing in front of something so big that it begins to humble him. And this is such a beautiful thing about relationship with God, is when a spiritualist has a strong relationship with God, humility is a natural byproduct. I mean, it's naturally going to happen. You're going to start seeing things in their proper perspective, which is the definition of humility, right? And that is that we are small. Because if you have a close relationship with God, what else could you think? You're gonna have the super close relationship with the all powerful, the all beautiful, the all intelligent, and that being, that person, just wants relationship with you. So it's going to make you feel small because you're going to understand, wow, I'm so finite, and this being is so infinite. But at the same time, it's going to make you feel grounded and uplifted because that very being just wants relationship with you. So it's very sweet. It's not a self-deprecating kind of humility. It's a humility that's grounded in reality and that actually uplifts you and fills you up with love in a way that you become sweet. So this is a very good thing for us to see. We get so caught up in material comparisons that becomes our standard. And then we get caught up in competition and this ugly game of comparison. And it brings out the ick in us. It doesn't bring out the love in us. It brings out the ick in us. But if we are caught up in relationship with God, I mean, that really brings out the love in us. It's natural. This is a process. Okay, should we move to the next verse, 16? Whenever you're ready, Stella.
Aneka bahudara vaktra netram pasyami tvam sarvato nanta rupam natana madhyam na punastavadim pasyami vishvara vishvarupa. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning.
So now Arjuna goes even deeper into what he's seeing. He says, I see so many arms, so many bellies, so many mouths, so many eyes expanding everywhere. And then he says, I don't see any beginning. Yeah, I don't see any middle. I don't see any end. So imagine, like wherever he looks, it just keeps going. It's like unlimited. It's like It's like if someone's lost in the ocean. You look in one direction, there's just water. You turn the other way, it's still water. It's like there's no reference point, there's no edge, there's no boundary. So this is what Arjuna is experiencing here. He's looking at this form that's being revealed to him on the battlefield, and it's so vast. He can't even locate it. He can't define it. And for us, usually when we understand something, we can place it, we can define it, we can make sense of it. But here, it's like so much, he can't. There is no center, there's no edges, there's no way to grasp it. And in that moment, he realizes this is the universal form. My Lord, you are the controller of everything. And this form, it pervades the entire universe. This isn't just a form within the universe, it's a form that contains the universe. So again, we're seeing this shift here because we like to think that the more we see, the more peace we feel. If we could just know what's going to happen, how this is going to turn out, what this person is going to say or do, we'd feel at peace. But what Arjuna is experiencing here, it's clarity. It's all the clarity in the world, in the universe. But it's so vast that it actually removes any sense of control. It's like too much. There's like nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to anchor to. And this is for us to understand that we're finite beings. We're finite beings. We shouldn't expect to understand the infinite. And that shouldn't be our quest in life to just like understand more, to know more, to be more in control. That's not the way that we're designed. We're not designed to hold that. And to the degree that we keep seeking that and think that that's what's going to give us happiness, that's what's going to give us stability, we're missing the point. And oftentimes those things just make us crave more. And then those things make us feel, and then we get so used to it, we have to have it, that then when they go away from us, we can't even deal. We go into like a downward spiral when we think that we have so much control, and then all of a sudden we realize, oh wait, I don't have that control that I thought we did. And our entire world just becomes dismantled. Like we don't even know how to deal. And it's like instead of in that moment seeking more control, in that moment, what we should do is understand we're not meant to have all the control. We're not meant to have all the vision. We're not meant to know what's going to happen next. No, we're meant to connect to the one who does. And it's that relationship that will provide us stability. It's that relationship that will fill our hearts. It's that relationship that will give us the clarity and the wherewithal to navigate life in a way where we're stable amongst the ups and downs. We're stable no matter how much control we have or don't have, because it's coming from something so much deeper. And this is what brings us. We just have to see it. We just have to be open to it. And this is what the Gita is trying to teach us through all of these verses. So let's go to the next one, 17.
Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha tejo rasim sarvato dipiti mantram pasyami tvam durnikyam samatad diptanalarka yutim apremeyam. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet, I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs.
Thank you. I love your voice when you read these verses, Stella. It's like you're like telling a story, it's like we're in it. And so now Arjuna's he's adding another layer to what he's experiencing. He's saying, so remember, we're in the middle of an ocean, like you can't see anything. It's just there's no reference point. Now he's saying your form is very difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence. So it's not just vast, it's not just unlimited, but it's also like blindingly bright. He compares it to a blazing fire or the radiance of the sun. And we can relate to this, like even when we look at something very bright in our own experience, it actually becomes harder to see clearly. It's like too bright. Like we need a degree of brightness to be able to see, but then if you turn it up too much, it's like we can't see. It's like beyond the perception of our senses, of our limited senses. Too much light, everything starts to blur. So this is what's happening here. So Arjuna's saying, I can see certain details. I can see crowns, maces, discs, but at the same time, the brilliance is just so intense that it's almost impossible to fully make out. So here's the tension. He's seen everything, but again, he can't clearly grasp it. It's just overwhelmingly radiant. So let's go to the next verse, 18. See what happens to
Okay.
Arjuna.
Tvam aksaram paramam veditvayam tvam asya vivasya param nittanam tvam avayaya savata dharma gopta sanatanas tvam purusho matome. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. That is my opinion.
So now something really important starts to happen. Up until this point, Arjuna has mostly been describing what he's seeing. He's trying to take it in, he's trying to make sense of it. But now this description starts to shift into something else. It becomes recognition. He says, You are the supreme reality, the ultimate resting place of everything, the oldest, the inexhaustible, the maintainer of eternal truth. So, what's happening here is at first everything was just too much to process. But now, instead of trying to figure it out, he starts to recognize it. He begins connecting what he's seen and with what he already knows deep down. And that's when everything changes. He's no longer just seeing something vast or powerful. He's realizing this is Krishna. This is the supreme person. And again, let's notice what this does to him. It doesn't make him feel more in control. It actually softens him. It grounds him, not in understanding everything, but in recognizing who is behind everything. So we see his language shifting. It's no longer just observation. It starts becoming this glorification. There's reverence now. There's awe. There's a sense of standing before something far greater than himself. And this is the turning point. Because instead of trying to hold everything he's seen, he starts to place it back where it belongs. Not with him, but with Krishna. And for us, if we could start to go around our days, our worlds like this, and see that everything is Krishna. We're not meant to understand everything necessarily or be able to hold everything or put our arms around everything, or our mental conceptions. We get so much relief and we get also so much more connection. There's a story that I just heard that I thought was really sweet. Um, Prabhupada was talking to one of his disciples, and Prabhupada's glasses were like on a table, and one of his disciples said something like, or maybe Prabhupada said, when you see those glasses, what do you think of? And one of his disciples said, Oh, I feel warmth and love because I think of my spiritual master. And Prabhupada said, when you have a relationship with God, a close relationship with God, that's how you feel when you see everything. Something, and it's so true. We tend to take things for granted, even just like I mean, this is the universal form, but like just some miracles of life, a child being born, or even simple things like so seemingly simple things like the sun coming up. every day. It's like this is unbelievable. I mean, we can't really take in a sunrise. Anybody ever really try to take in a sunrise? It's like you want to see it, but you can't look at it too long. My husband's always telling me this because we are sunrise people. We love going to a new place and checking out the sunrise. But you can't stare at it for too long or it will blind you. But it's like magnificent. These things, when we really have God in our hearts, when we really have this close relationship with God, they make us humble. And this humility comes out as such an appreciation and connection with the world around us. Not in a way that we're trying to control and exploit it, but in a way that we are just in awe of it. And this really brings out the best in everybody. This is sometimes you see somebody who has this close relationship with God and they're just so sweet and loving and this isn't them. This is their connection with God. And this connection is so strong that they're now an instrument for God's love. They're just like a vessel for God's love to just come through and shine out to the rest of the world. And this is what happens. This is what this process offers us. So let's go to 19.
Anadimadyantam ananta viryam ananta bahum sasi sura nitram pasyami tvam dipta hutasa vaktram sva tejasa visvamidam tapantam. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance.
So now here Arjuna is continuing to describe what he's seeing. And it becomes super intense. We've already heard there's no beginning, there's no middle, there's no end. So again, he's emphasizing this form is unlimited. But now he's saying the sun and the moon are like your eyes. It's not just that everything is within this form. It's that the most powerful forces in the universe are a part of it. And then it takes another turn. He says there's blazing fire coming out from Krishna's mouth, burning everything within its radiance. It's not just something he's observing, it's something he's feeling. Up until now, the experience has been mostly visual. But here it's like you can almost sense the heat, the intensity, the force of it all. And the mood shifts because this form isn't just wondrous anymore. It's also overwhelming in a different way. It's even a little bit frightening. And we can relate to this in a small way. When something is too intense, it's powerful. It doesn't just inspire awe, but it creates this sense of vulnerability. So this is where Arjuna is now. He's no longer witnessing something extraordinary. He's standing in front of something that just completely surpasses him. And again, note what it's doing to him. It's deepening his awareness of how small he is in the presence of something so vast, so powerful, so beyond his ability to contain. And this is so sweet. I love this feeling personally in life, like because I'm such a controller and I'm such like I have to have it all figured out. I have to hold everything up. If I don't, the world's gonna end. I get very caught up into to the ego tricks. But this is when we can really lean into God and say, hey, look, it's okay. I'm not supposed to understand everything, and that's okay. God does. And God's my best friend. God takes care of me. So I can stop trying so hard to take a position that isn't rightfully mine because when I'm just ultimately I'm just suffering because of it. And when I can take my rightful position as a servant of God, as an instrument for God's love in this world, this is actually where I experience true happiness and connection. We think that I need to be in complete control, I need to be completely powerful, and then I'll get the recognition and the prestige that I deserve. But really, that's just like a dead end road that we never give up chasing. It just but it's never really going to bear the fruits that our hearts are looking for. So this is really beautiful when we can start to train ourselves to have this vision. When we start to train ourselves to engage in the world around us and understand that I am so small, that everything that is happening around me is beyond my control, beyond what I can hold. It's very humbling and it's very sweet and it's our rightful position. Last verse of the day. Let's get to it and then we'll have some reflections.
Yav aprithiviyor idam anantaram hi vyaptam tvayakena dishacha sarvaha dristva bhutam rupam ugram tavedam lokatrayam pravyam hitam mahamat. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all spaces between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed.
Thank you. So now again, the tone is shifting. Up until now, Arjuna's been describing something wondrous, overwhelming, even beautiful. Now we see a sense of fear kind of layered in. He says, although you are the one, you are spread everywhere through the sky, the planets, all the space in between. This form isn't just vast in one direction. It's everywhere. It's above, it's below, it's all directions. And at this point, Arjuna isn't seeing the battlefield anymore. He's not seeing the warriors, the chariots, any of it. He's just completely absorbed into this vision. It's like his entire perception has shifted, and this is all he sees. It's like those new things where you put over your head, and all of a sudden you're in this like virtual reality, and it's like all you know, all you see. It's like a new technology that will probably just keep coming and coming. It's like this virtual reality experience. This is all Arjuna sees, but it's not virtual reality. This is his reality. He's seen it, and then something else becomes clear. He's seen that all the planetary systems, all the beings within them, are disturbed. So it's not just Arjuna reacting. Even the great beings, Brahma, the Devatas, they're also seeing what's going on here, and they're unsettled. So there's this mix of emotions. It's extraordinary. It's awe-inspiring, but it's also intense. It's a little terrifying. And Arjuna's holding both at the same time. And this is where everything really comes together because this is what we think we want. If I could just see everything, understand everything, have complete clarity. But when Arjuna actually experiences that, it's not that understanding is bringing him peace. It overwhelms him. It humbles him. And ultimately, it shifts him out of control into surrender. And this is such an important takeaway for us because most of the time we're walking around with this conception that if we see everything, we'll feel steady, we'll feel in control. But this section is showing us something very different. Arjuna does see everything. He sees everything. This is a person who sees everything, not just like a tiny little glimpse of, how something might unfold, but he's seeing everything. And it doesn't make him feel more powerful. It doesn't make him feel more in control. It humbles him deeply. Because when he sees the full scope of reality, his place within it becomes clear. This is what we need to understand. This is what we need to seek. This is what we should shift our objective to. Not seeing everything, but seeing the reality of our place within it. And that is that I'm actually not the center of everything. Okay? I'm not the one holding everything together. And this shouldn't crush us. It should relieve us. It should make us feel a sense of relief because we're not meant to be the center. We're not meant to be the ones holding everything together. And to the degree that we try, we will suffer and will inhibit connection. It's not our rightful place. We're finite. So, this humility in the Gita, it's not about thinking less of yourself. It's about seeing yourself accurately, seeing God as greater and yourself as supported within that. And when this knowledge becomes realization, a shift in our own lives happens. The shift from trying to carry everything to recognizing that you're never meant to. And sometimes that the greatest clarity, it's not seeing everything, it's realizing that we don't have to. And the greatest peace and stability and clarity comes from our connection with God, not from us trying to be God. And this is such an important lesson, and this alone will change the entire trajectory of your life. We could start to move this from knowledge to realized wisdom. Not just something that we know, but something that we live. So that's what I had for you all today. We have some time for reflections. I would love to hear some of your
I love
takeaways.
something that you said
Please.
about the Srila Prabhupada's glasses that you said. And after that, what you said, that made me so connected. Because
Mm.
when you see the sunrise or when you see the sunset or even the colors of the sky changing, or the smallest flower having exactly those 7 petals on the side of the road, just squat down and just to see that beauty. How, I mean, somebody is doing it. And now I know that how, because we are so connected with the Supreme, we don't want to see the form that Arjun has seen, but just seeing these small things, we get connected directly. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, exactly. To change our vision as spiritualists, not just to seeing something and how can I use that for my pleasure? How can I exploit that to so that I'm more powerful and more in control? But wow, just look at that. That's God's. I appreciate and love that so much. And I feel warm from that love. That's it. And because everything is God's, if we when we really become evolved, we have this vision day in, day out, minute by minute. I mean, this is what we're experiencing. What a gift. Anybody else? Aaron, I see you just went off camera. Let's hear from you.
Hare Krishna. Well, I can very much relate with wanting to gain some clarity. I feel like for me, it's like a negotiation. I'm like, Krishna, if you just show me, like, I don't need to know everything. I just need like a little sign, a little something, and then I'll just like feel so much better. Like, so I'm just like, yeah, but Radha, I don't need everything. Like, I just want some information from time to time. But but I totally hear you and like can relate with like, when I first heard that we're all here because we want to be God, I was like, I don't want to be God. Like that did not like land with me at all. But then when people were like, because we want to control, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I do like to control as much as possible. If that's what you mean, then maybe I do want to be God. Um, but but I think like obviously related to control, but something I've been thinking about, I'm sure it came up in the retreat, although to be honest, those days are quite a blur now, um, is like our fear, like living in fear because of our lack of control and my lack of like trust in God. Um, Shraddhanjali and I, we got to go to the Nrsimha prayers together one morning, and they give you those flower petals and tell you to like circumambulate the inside of the temple. And the pujari said, there's one rule. And he was like, and the rule is you cannot walk around with this fear in your heart. Like, you need to accept that Radha Vrindavan Chandra are here to protect you and that they are with you. And you cannot have these fearful thoughts in your mind. And I was just like, of course, this is a rule, like the bhakti rules that are so like beautiful and not like commandments of thou shalt not do something. But but yeah, I think I've just been like thinking a lot about that, like this element of control, but then like the fear or anxiety we feel because we're not in control.
Mm, yeah, really nice reflection. Thank you. Yeah, because we think about it, a lot of times when we're acting out of our lower natures, it's because of this fear. This fear of losing something, this fear of, losing an identity, a relationship, a material thing, a job, and it causes us to act out of our lower natures. But if we really feel, if our relationship with God is such that we really feel like God has our back and that everything is happening for us, there's no room for fear. And what to speak of how uplifted our whole life and being becomes when we're not, when that doesn't impact how we move around in this world. It's like our whole life just becomes this offering of love. That's what's being a real instrument for God's love is. A real servant of God. That's what it is. We stop making everything about me and we start making things about how can I be of service. Yeah, that sounds like real freedom, right? Yeah, it really does. It really does. And it doesn't mean also that we stop like I'm a controller and I'm like pretty good controller. And for me, it doesn't mean that like I stop that. I stop controlling things. It means that I stop attaching myself to the outcomes. And it's really fun. I've been playing with this a lot because I'm trying to start this organization, Conscious Collective, and doing all different kinds of events and retreats and it's been really fun to just kind of like plant seeds, like water them with and nourish them with, the best soil and the freshest water, and then say, huh, that's funny. That's not at all what I thought was going to grow there. But that's the way it's moving. So now what can I get to nourish this new plant? Now what's the best way to nourish this new plant that's growing? And so then I run around, okay, I think this plant actually needs this amount of sunlight and this amount of fertilizer. And then it kind of like grows into something else. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. It's like this is what life can become for us. Those of us that love to control, no problem. You can still control, but become a little bit less attached to the outcome and see how that feels. Yeah. Katie, what do you think?
Hi, Krishna. Um,
Hare Krishna.
well, a big thing on the retreat for me, and you guys have graciously helped me with talking about my sister a lot lately, is this being okay with not knowing the answer, not having it figured out now, um, trusting Krishna's timeline and like letting go a little bit. Um, and I think there's fear in there too that is good to soften. And I was happy because I was sorry, I'm just driving also, so I'm trying to like keep my thoughts together. But basically, I had this set up in my mind from recent occurrences that have been a little bit more heightened lately, that like um the only thing that's going on right now is it is not good. Like it's totally stressful. She's being awful, you know, and that's what I was really expecting all the time, you know? And I was talking to my brother and I was like, actually, it's a little inconsistent. And because I said, on the drive home from the retreat, she called me and we had this nice, fine, pleasant conversation. And I was like very uplifted by that and thinking, why do I have these expectations that like it's just this one way now and I have to fix it? And it's not like that. Life is not like that. And then she invited me over for dinner and it was last night. And she had said I'm gonna cook and my housemates are gone and we can just relax and I'll cook. And I was like, great. So then the morning of, or like the night before, she texted me like, oh hey, what did you have in mind for dinner? And I was like, okay, here we go. You know, uh what the heck? So I wrote back like, oh, I thought you mentioned, cooking and just being there. And when I get home from work, I'm really pooped and need to eat, but no worries. Like, it's not. And then she wrote, and I expected her to be like, oh, yeah, let's just go to a restaurant or what, like forget that she had offered. And, but instead she texted back, oh, no problem. I just wanted to make sure that was good of you. Like, what's the best time for you? And I was like, oh, right. I forget so quickly to not expect, not like harden my expectations. And then last night we had a really pleasant time. And so that came to my mind. Like, it's a good example of we're not in control. We don't know, and we don't need to know um, everything. So I think, Arjuna being like, oh Lordy, let's go back to the friend form. It is overwhelming to try to think everything. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, as someone who has had quite a bit of experience also dealing with people that are in the thrust of addiction, I've found that the best you can do for that relationship is just stay steady. Like, don't get on the roller coaster with them of the ups and downs when they're crazy. Then it impacts you. You get emotional. You're just like shackled to whatever mood they're in. That's the mood that you're going to be in. It's like we have to find our own grounding, our own peace, our own stability, and that comes from connection with source. And when that is strong, then we're able to show up for ourselves and all our other relationships from that place. And we are not just taken for a ride all the time. And what ends up happening is that they see that and they kind of lose that control over you to be able to, bring you into their drama. And their fire will get a little less out of control, in terms of their relationship with you. That's been my experience. And it sounds like you're doing the work. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share before we end? Karuna here says, I'm too overwhelmed to speak anything. I'm more and more in awe of him every second. I feel I had to attend today. Thank you so much for the knowledge you imparted on me. I love him too much and I'm getting so much clarity. I finally understand why I don't have to have the answers I was looking for. Yeah, that's a gift. We don't have to have all those answers. That is such a gift. Katie Miller Sweet.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Um, I really enjoyed how you reflected like the meaning of humility. It doesn't mean we're self-deprecating. Like we know our worth, we know our value, we know our strengths, but we aren't the center, we aren't the whole. Because sometimes I feel like that can get turned into self-deprecating language, of being humble. And I feel like we need that self-confidence to continue moving forward in our life because like I think you shared during retreat a story of like this man was praying, and like Krishna sent a boat. Krishna sent a helicopter, and this guy like didn't reach for the help that Krishna was sending. And it's like, if you don't have that self-esteem to know that you can also act, you act with Krishna to make change, to make progress, then nothing changes.
Yeah, that's a beautiful reflection. That story goes like God was send him a boat, send him a helicopter, and the guy was like, God, where have you been? I've been waiting for you to save me. And the guy's like, I sent you all of these things, and you didn't see them like that. Yeah, really nice story, really nice reflection. Thank you for coming, Katie. Appreciate you. Do you want to have one final reflection before we end for the day? Anu or Aru, let's hear from you.
Okay. Hari bol, everybody.
Haribo.
So, gosh, Radha, when you talk, it's all, like how you have some things ruminating in your mind, and then, the exact verse you need shows up.
Mm,
That's what happened today. So, yes, I admit I'm a control freak. Well, I was, and I'm sure I still am. But what has helped me, and again, this is something, you did say one thing rather during the retreat. You have to find a way to get yourself out of the way.
mm,
And that's something that struck with me, and I thought about it all the way on my drive back. Because we think we're in control, and we want to control the outcomes. We want to control, the people around us. We want to control everything, and which is how we get so attached to the results.
mm,
But when you surrender, you say it's all okay.
mm,
So I think I have slowly reached that point. I say all okay. Good happens, okay. Bad happens, that's okay too.
mm,
I will flow with you, because one thing I started doing, in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, I say Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu, meaning everything, my pain, my actions, my good deeds, my not so great moments, everything I surrender to you, Lord.
mm,
When I say that, I just become empty.
mm,
No, I mean, he has a big shoulder, he can carry all of your goods and bads. And I say, look, and that's one of the prayers I've been doing lately. I'm asking him, look, help me get out of your way and my way and lead the way.
mm,
And when he's leading and I trust him so much, and because I trust him so much, I'm able to say, all okay.
mm,
So whatever happens in the day, good things happen, great. Bad things happen, great. Everything is him now. I mean, I guess I'm the non-doer.
This is perfect.
So thank you, Radha, for helping me reach that point.
Yes, this is Gita in action. That's the mark of a true spiritualist, and your life will just keep becoming better and better because of it. I mean, this is real freedom, like Aaron said.
Yes, freedom.
Yeah, so nice. Thank you. Such a sincere soul. Appreciate you. Hey, Karuna, do you want to take us home? Just 1 or 2 minutes here, and then we gotta close. What do you have for us,
Yes,
Karuna?
yes. I wrote whatever I wanted to speak. I'm speechless after coming from back from the retreat. So many people like, oh, how was it? How was your experience? And how are you feeling? And I just say, oh, I cannot find the words. So I just he had aligned
Mm-hmm.
all the plans and everything for me to be connected with all of you. So, like, I just woke him up in the morning, and he says, I love you all. My baby loves everyone. That's it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thanks, Karuna. Thank you. And if you missed this retreat, don't worry, we're doing it again next year. But in the meantime, we have lots of other retreats going on. We're going to Guatemala in November. We're going to India in February. I think we're going to have another retreat in August too. More details on that to come. But follow us on Instagram, consciouscollective.life, and you will be able to follow all the fun things that we're doing. So thank you all for coming and looking forward to our next meeting, which will be Japa on Sunday, 6 to 7. Please come to this special meditation with us. Have a great weekend. Haribol.
Thank you.